Hey, church, it's day 13, and I just want to encourage you. You're two-thirds of the way through the fast right now. I've heard a lot of great stories. I know that God's moving and a lot of great things are happening. So I just want to encourage you to press through to the end. We're almost there. Keep going. You're doing a good job, and let's just see what God does. So this morning, we're in Matthew chapter 20, and I want to show you a portion of Scripture, and it's where Jesus teaches about serving others. And the story starts off kind of funny to me because it kind of hits home with me for a second. James and John, their mother she goes to Jesus and she asks Jesus if James and John, when they get to heaven, considered his right and left hand. And so I'm sitting here thinking about, man, your mom just embarrassed you. And so for me, when I was in junior high, I had to take piano lessons, and so my mom would come get me early from football practice. Come on, that's a man's sport, to go to piano lessons. And I remember every day coach would say something just to, here goes Tyler, he's going to tickle the ivory. And it was embarrassing because my mom would actually walk out on the field to get my attention because I was trying to act like I couldn't see her so that I could go to piano lessons, which I didn't want to go to. So James and John's mother go to Jesus. She says, hey, when you get to heaven, can my boys just sit at your right and left hand? And then Jesus stuns her with this. He goes, do you know what you're asking? And then James and John evidently are standing there. And Jesus says these words. He says, you don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering I'm about to drink with? Wow. And they actually responded, yes, we can. And I'm going, man, if you could only rewind the tape and go back, I think you would probably answer that one different. So the rest of the disciples come and they're pretty indignant about the whole thing. And they're going, man, what the heck are you doing, man? You're trying to position yourself. You're trying to get this title. You're trying to establish this position when you get to heaven. I mean, what's going on, guys? What are y'all doing? And then Jesus steps in and he teaches a very valuable lesson. I believe that's something he's telling us today. And I want to pick it up in verse 25. It says this, but Jesus called them together and said, now when Jesus calls together, you better listen. And he said this to him. He said, you know that the rulers of this world lord it over their people, and officials flaunt their authority over those under them. He says, but among you it will be different. In other words, among believers, it should be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and to give his life as a ransom for many. So Jesus just really hits them hard with a pretty simple lesson. And I think it's for us. So when you think about leadership and you think about titles and positions and all those things, I think there's some true qualities to a true leader that sometimes we don't talk about. And when you see it as a leader, when you see somebody else that possesses these qualities, it really gets your attention. It's when somebody loves to serve other people. They're not always trying to be first. They don't ever want a title. And they don't ever want to draw attention to themselves. A valuable lesson I learned when I was in business was that if somebody comes to you and they got to speak out their resume and tell you how good they are, don't hire them because they're not that good. But when somebody comes and says, yeah, I can do this and I can do that, and they got a humble attitude, hire that person. They're probably going to be a leader. So the qualities of a leader is that they don't want attention. They don't want a title. They don't want a position. They're not bucking for anything. They just love serving people. They don't have to be first. And Jesus is just making this point to his disciples, and it's a valuable lesson. He's saying, guys, among you, among believers. In other words, he's making a separation from the world and the church. He's saying in the church, you want to be first, you're going to have to be last. You want to be great, you're going to have to be the least. And that's a valuable lesson. And I want to finish up with this last verse where Jesus says this in verse 28. He says, for even the Son of Man, the person with the greatest title that ever walked the planet, even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So I want to encourage you today to just really step into this mode of, you know what, I don't want people to see what I'm doing. I'm not trying to draw attention to myself. You know what, I don't need a title. I just want to serve somebody. And when you serve other people, you're serving Jesus. You just got to know that the least thing you do to somebody, you're doing it to Jesus. So let me end with this. I taught my kids a lesson when they were younger. We lived in a subdivision. We had neighbors. And we would get up early in the morning and we would go to a neighbor's house and we would wash their car before they woke up. And the kids were like, Dad, why are we doing this? I'm teaching you a lesson. And well, what's going on? I'm teaching you how to sneak a blessing on somebody. And so we'd make it a practice and we'd go over there early in the morning and we'd get the buckets and we'd be quiet. And I made this big old game out of it. And I was hoping to instill this lesson into my kids, that to be great, you need to serve other people. And in serving other people, you're serving Jesus. So go serve somebody. Love you. Talk to you later.